one of the things that I wanted to kind of bring out on the last on the last episode, I guess they're episodes, right? I don't know. It's kind of gotten it's getting to the point where it kind of has like a podcast feel to it. It's like I just have these thoughts that come to me, and I don't know. I just think it's cool to just kind of talk about what's going through my head and my mentality as far as working out and things like that. And on the last episode, I talked about my friend who has an issue with working out. He's not good mentally, and everything that is bad about working out, he's in it. He does it. Oddly enough, though, I worked out with him in the gym, and he has great gym manners. He helps people in the gym. He's not a dick to anybody, but he does have bad traits. It's like the gym is his happy spot that he hates. Again, he did the steroids. He does a bunch of things. Go back and listen to that one if you want on the previous quote unquote episode. Now I'm going to preface this by saying this is just a commentary that I have. One, again, as you can see, I'm not a fitness expert. I don't have any kind of certificate in diet or exercise. I'm not a certified expert in any of this. All right, but I am going to make a commentary of what my observations about a certain thing. Where in my life I've had a couple people die that were fitness buffs, that were really into fitness, that had great bodies. And of course there's the actor that really comes to mind for me is the actor in the Green Mile. All right, let me get his name here real quick so that we give him a proper the respect. Michael Clarke. He was a physical specimen, of course. I mean, it's one of the reasons why he was in the Green Mile. And he was he ended up passing away through some really odd circumstances, and believe it was heart failure. The other one that comes to mind, this might be for you young ones out there, this might be a little bit of a weird one. Lyle Alzado, is that him? He was a lineman for the Raiders, and he was a decent lineman, and then he wanted to come back, and then he was really into steroids. His problem was everyone blames the steroids for him, right? But he ended up being this great physical specimen, and as well ended up withering away through what was probably steroids, right? Again, I've stated before that I'm a photographer, and I work a lot with models. And there are a couple. One is a it sounds terrible, a second-hand model. One is a model that I did not work directly with, but I worked with someone who did. And she was also into fitness, but unfortunately she was also she was also an alcoholic. And those two don't really go together. And that ended up dying as a physical specimen as well. The model I directly work with, may she rest in peace as well, was also a gym rat, physical specimen, gorgeous body. I was lucky enough to work with her, and just the kindest soul, just a very beautiful person inside and out. And one day she collapsed at the gym, in the locker room. I don't know enough about. I'm not in contact with her family. I don't know enough about her to contact anyone and see exactly what happened. But there are a lot of rumors out there that she may not have been in getting her gains. Get your gains. Well, she had a saying on her Instagram. Again, just a gorgeous body, and she might not have been doing it the correct way, to say, just to keep it out sort of general, to where again, there's ways to be able to get your gains, right? So I'm not sure where this, it's weirded out to where, the big picture is like, well, when it's your time to go, it's your time to go, and it doesn't matter how you're living your life. You got the big stories about the guy that smokes 2 cigars a day and drinks a 6-pack and a bottle of whiskey a day and lives to be 102 years old, right? It obviously that's the extreme version. That it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being, using the hyperbole, but you don't understand what I'm saying. There's people that live a long time. My grandmother lived to be 106 years old. My other grandmother, of course, lived to be almost 90, and they did not do anything dietary, physical, that allowed them to, that's able to explain why they have these genetics that allow them to live forever, right? And it's weird how life just happens to people, that it just happens to all of us, is what I'm into, where it doesn't matter how, of course, there's a lot to be said for eating and exercises and doing what you got to do, but my observation is that it's just a matter of time. And I had another example of someone that was very physically fit in the celebrity world and just for whatever reason didn't make it, and it also just happened to be some sort of weird, it wasn't like some sort of tragic, well, it's always tragic, but it wasn't some sort of what's the word that the people use? It wasn't for like malpractice. No, nothing like that. It wasn't that sort of thing. It was more of a physical failure. Somehow that their heart condition, their bodies gave out somehow in a very weird fashion, and it's I guess at one point, with the model that I worked with directly, again, there were rumors, and no one knows for sure. These are all just rumors as to where there were maybe suspect supplements being taken, to where you get someone that I think we know that Michael Clark had a strict diet, and there was someone else as well that. I forget. Actually, I remember the guy. I just don't remember the bodybuilder's name. But he wasn't really a bodybuilder. He just was a big guy. And I remember what he said once. He's all, I'm having heart issues, but I can't stop working out. It's another one of those guys, and he had a great body. And the issue was that one of the lines he says that I will never forget is that 300 pounds of muscle or fat, the heart doesn't really know the difference. Now, I don't know how true that is, but and there's another bodybuilder as well that has physical issues because of all the weight and the pressure that goes on his joints, right? But you think about how much is too much working out, and again, I'm not even close to being in that aspect, right? I mean, when I get washboard abs, this is something that I will have to start thinking about, right? When I have definition, when you can see the 6-pack and that little, those dudes that have that little V that goes down into their crotch when they wear these the shorts and shit. When I get that, then I'll start to worry about how much too much is working out, right? That's when you start to think about how, hey, maybe I should cut back a little bit. When my body fat gets to a negative number, that's when I'm going to start to think about, am I working out too much? I'm in no danger of doing that right now. I understand that. But there is something to the psychology of, I guess it might be, again, going off of the other episode, an addiction is an addiction. It doesn't matter what it is, I guess, whether it's some sort of chemical addiction or some sort of physical addiction. It's all in your brain, right? And I think one of the things that these people have, like going back to my model that I worked with, I think that there is a case to be made for the gym being your identity, and that at any cost you will keep up this identity and not lose it for fear of being seen differently, for fear of maybe even, dare we say, lose jobs. I think that at some point, if it becomes your identity, you lose yourself in it. And I don't think that somehow that's spiritually a place that you want to be. And obviously it's not physically in a place where you want to be. And I worry about these people, and I worry about, I think about these people a lot. And I've been thinking about them, of course, now that I'm working out and pushing my heart and pumping my blood into my heart and throughout my body more now than I have in the past 15 years. The last time I worked out, I was, again, I've mentioned before, I'm actually probably, if all goes well during this workout, and I start actually by the end of the summer, I have probably start lifting weights in a power capacity. I might, and at the end of summer I start training, I might be ready for what I would call my last league in men's league as a 50-year-old. I think I got one more season in my arm. I'm gonna throw it out, and then that's it. And I plan on throwing at least a no-hitter, but at least winning a few games and maybe helping whatever team I'm on win the league championship. Delusions of grandeur, if you will. So hopefully in a year's time I'll be up to that. That's But the last time I worked out, I was living in LA, and I ended up saying, you know what, I need to play baseball again. And much to my surprise, my arm was still decent. I still threw far, still threw decent. I'm not gonna say I'm not Nolan Ryan. I'm not throwing 100 miles an hour, but I had a decent season to where I threw the ball well. I didn't have any problems with my arm. I never really did. I didn't have any problems with my arm. It's just that I'm just old, and I feel like if I'm going to do this thing one more time, I'm not going to reach 80 miles an hour, I don't think. But I have junk that I can do it, and I can throw my arm out. But this is when I started working out, and this was in 2008, I believe, 2009, somewhere around there. I started to run a lot. I started to jog. I started to run, and then from running I went into sprinting, and then from sprinting I went into quasi calisthenics sort of thing, like I used to do in football. And I used to drive to the park, get to the field, run on grass, go from pole to pole, do sit-ups, do push-ups, get my core, try to get it back into it, and then I'd go to the batting cages, get my heart pumping a little bit. Obviously, the batting cages isn't a super big cardio workout, but I got myself into shape. The first couple of days, I was sore as hell. After the first game, I was still sore as hell because those are muscles that I wasn't using before, and that felt great. And that was the last time that I ended up working out like that. So now, years later, while I have done some things on the bike or anything else, this is, again, I've mentioned this before, this is the longest I've gone working out on a daily basis and getting my heart rate up to a certain point and sustaining it for really what probably is, at this point, well, in these videos, on this date, I am about, I'll put up the date here in a little bit. I am doing 20-minute workouts, about between, at this point, 17 to 20 minutes. Today I time myself, my workouts are now at about 25 minutes because I've implemented a couple other things. But throughout that time, I've sustained a heart rate that's pounding, definitely over 100, maybe even over 120 for about 20-25 minutes. And then the last couple minutes are just bringing it down. So yes, this is the longest that I've had my heart rate up for a substantial amount of time, and it feels good. But yeah, those are, hopefully The journey continues. Again, I'm not in any fear of working out too much, but those are just thoughts that cross my mind, and I hope all the people that I mentioned are doing well in the afterlife and are resting in peace. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to you on the next one. Take it easy. Enjoy your youth.